episode of One Shared Braincell, where two morons absolutely have a blast talking about nerdy ass shit. And thank you so much for joining.
Thank you for joining me.
Yes.
No, I was gonna say I don't know if morons is quite right, because in our own right we're two smart dudes. That's the concept of One Shared Braincell. Two separately smart people get together and just become the stupidest motherfucker possible. And that is something that your wife has said about us.
Yeah.
Many times.
Yeah, very much so. Very much so. But for those of you who don't know, I'm Justin, aka the G teacher or the gaming teacher, depending on which platform you follow me on. What about you, buddy?
I'm Robbie Stanley, if you're feeling fancy.
Ooh.
Yeah, how about that shit?
Mm-hmm.
It's and I'm not really on the internet, except on Reddit. But you know what? You can fucking find my Reddit elsewhere, you pervs.
I do. That's like one of the only social media platforms I don't actually have is
Reddit is Reddit is definitely the definition of playing with fire. If you're careful, you have your proper safeguards, it's a great place to be. If you're not careful, you're gonna burn something down.
I mean, yes, I've heard the horror stories, and you know what? Maybe now is the time to log into Reddit for the first time.
Oh man, maybe another time. Just because that is a rabbit hole of itself, and I need to train you on how to use Reddit properly.
How to navigate? Yes.
Yeah. I mean, like, I think the best example is I think it was last year at this point. It wasn't in 2020 when Reddit's like penny banker or the stock, one of the stock market Reddits, blew up GameStop stocks to the point where somebody bought a billboard in Times Square that literally just said GameStop stock go burr. And it was like, it's a weird feeling because part of me is just like, yeah, fuck those guys that don't get it. And the other part of me is like, really?
Yeah.
Like, the fuck?
Like, I remember that.
God, what a flex.
Yeah, for real. Like, they
just bringing the stupidest internet meme and making people in Times Square who probably have no idea what the fuck a meme is. Just look at me like, Rhonda, do you see that? What is burr? And shut up, Steven. I don't care.
Steven.
My stocks have gone down the toilet. What is this GameStop bullshit?
Oh, yeah. I remember that being a big deal. It actually ended up like messing with the stocks that I had invested in. Because they were basically saying like, hey, you can't actually do anything with this stock other than sell it. I'm like, that is sketchy.
Dude, the stock market is such a just fucking whatever. But yeah. I feel like at a certain point, the people that are really making serious money in the stock market are the kind of people who you'd see in like the Wolf of Wall Street movie where they're just like doing cocaine off each other's dicks, and it's just like,
yeah,
man. I get so annoyed with shit like that. You know what I don't get annoyed with? D&D. What a segue.
Whoa.
What a segue. I should do fucking tours of the city.
What a freaking segue.
I can do 360s on a segue. That's my talent.
I like to make this whole joke that like when it's a segue that is either totally forced or super awkward, I say that it's your gasoline powered segue. Like,
oh god,
totally defeating the point of a segue.
Jesus Christ. Man, even our segue sucks.
Well, that's what I said. You know,
off on a segue.
Hold on, let me start up my segue.
It runs on pure oil.
I gotta fart every 3 miles just to get the natural gas up and running.
God, dude, imagine if, oh my god, if you could run a car on farts. I'm not gonna get off on a tangent about how many times you farted in the car with me and then not told me.
I would wait for you to notice.
Oh my god, I would not, like, I got to the point where it was like you could not help give me this like sneaky look, like, when is it gonna hit him? And I just like roll down the window and stick my head out while we're doing like 60, and I'm just like,
yeah, you just like
hail a plug, and it was better than your fucking rancid farts. So D&D, specifically the Amazon Prime show, The Legends of Vox Machina.
Yes.
So quick backstory.
Come to the main topic of the day here.
Wonderful listeners.
Mm-hmm.
I fucking love Critical Role.
Mm-hmm.
I came into Critical Role probably around episode 80, 85 of Campaign 1, which is Vox Machina, which is the Legend of Vox Machina is based off of. The original campaign is still, I believe it among fans, it's still a favorite. There was just incredible storytelling. Campaign 2 has already come and gone. In my mind, just as good as the first one, and I'm sure somebody is sharpening a pitchfork as I say that, because people have their people will die on the stupidest hills.
Right. I don't know enough about that to say whether or not like campaign 2 or campaign 1 was better. I'm currently like partway through campaign 1. I am, for those of you who know, especially if you've seen the show, I'm currently on in the campaign. I forget what number it is, but it is the Sun Tree.
And just to cover our asses, because God knows we're going to forget where it's important, spoiler alert for Critical Role, the animated show, and parts of the podcast. I'm going to do my best not to spoil anything super big, if at all.
Spoiler for Critical Role, 1, the actual show, The Legend of Vox Machina.
Campaign 3. Yeah. If it's Critical Role related, spoilers.
I will probably get spoiled on a couple of things here with campaign 2 and campaign 3 if you're gonna talk about anything.
I am gonna do my best to keep it like very spoiler free.
Okay, that's all I can ask, because I am working through it. So anybody who reaches out as a result of this, don't come at me for not getting into it earlier. I promise I'm enough.
That's where I was going with this, because I came to you because Justin and I have been friends for 9 years now, 10 years now. God, it's gotta be going on 10 years.
10 years. It will have been. It was give or take about 10 years, because it was my senior year. I graduated back in 2012 for high school, right? And I met you in my senior year.
Fall, correct?
No, it was during my winter break. And so it would have been January 2022. So
we've known each other for over 10 years now.
Over 10 years. Wow.
We've been, dare I say, best friends for 10 years now.
Oh, don't you dare say. It is something that is very well known. I don't want anybody to doubt that in the slightest.
Yeah, exactly. But I got into Critical Role around episode 80. Which is February 1st, 2017. Do not Google it, because the name itself is a spoiler. And around that time, I believe we were both still in college. Or I was still in... Yeah, we were both still in college.
2017, I was still in college.
Right. When did you and Mel have that apartment on Main Street?
That was summer 2017.
Yeah, so right around that time. So I was crashing on your couch, and I was like, dude, have you heard of Critical Role? And you were like, no. And I was like, dude, because we were both into D&D at this time. Like, we both had like dabbled in DMing.
I just started playing D&D at this point. Like, it was... It probably was during the 2016-2017 school year, because I remember that was when our mutual buddy said, like, hey, you want to try playing this game? And I'm like, oh, I've never played before. And then little did I know I was jumping down the rabbit hole, and now many years later, I've got an entire shelving unit dedicated to D&D shit.
Yeah. So let's talk The Legend of Vox Machina, the animated show. It is indeed. 12. For those of you who are unaware, pause.
the podcast.
I was about to say, like, why are you even listening at this point? Because, like,
Go watch the show and then come back.
Yes.
Because although you're like, oh, I'm okay with spoilers. No.
Go
watch the show.
Go watch it.
Because the thing is also, I listened to the first campaign, I want to say 3 times through. That's roughly like 500 hours worth of content. I listened to it 3 times through at least.
Yeah.
And that's just like straight through. I've definitely listened and like watched like best of clips. Like, oh god, the final episode. This is not a spoiler. This is just like one of the best moments. I got to see the final episode live. I never caught the episodes live because they record in California from like 7 p.m. till like 10 p.m. I'm on the East Coast, so that's 10 p.m. to 1 a.m. for me.
Right.
And I'm like, fuck no. But this was like the final episode of Campaign 1. I was like, you're goddamn right I'm going to catch this live. I was like half an episode off. I was like halfway through the second to last episode. And I was like, nope, I don't care. Like, I need to catch this live. And at the very end, Matt Mercer, the DM, is saying, he says, remember to love each other, and is it Thursday yet? And he like starts breaking. I was full on sobbing. Well, actually, before that, my mom's older sister came to visit, and she came in like really late. So she like gets in, and I like go to hug her, and I'm like, tears are streaming down my face. And she was like, "Are you okay?" I was like, "I'm watching a show. It's really good." She's like, "Go watch your show. I'm gonna get to bed." I was like, "Okay, I love you," and then went back to watching. But never forget it. Great night. But really just incredible.
I think the last time
still was shocked by parts of the show.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's that good. It doesn't matter if you know what's happening. They did such a good job. Like, I know exactly what happens in that show, and there's still moments where I'm like, oh fuck, they're gonna die.
Yeah.
Oh my god, Keyleth is dead.
Yeah.
What the fuck?
So that part I did cry at which you can actually watch me crying to that on YouTube, by the way, because like
the live reactions that you did were phenomenal. Like, I was like, you know what, I want to watch this. I want to support my friend. Like, not that your stuff isn't entertaining, but it's like, you know what I'm like. Yeah, I was gonna say, like, I know what you're like. Some of the things, like, I'm not gonna lie, I don't give a shit about Moon Knight. I apologize. I just like
you and most of the internet, apparently, because those videos are tanking, whereas like some of my other videos, like I'm thinking I might have to stray away from Marvel reactions. I have seen people expressing interest to see me watch and react to the Obi-Wan Kenobi show.
That's right, I forgot that was a thing.
Yeah, but I also had a pretty extensive reaction to that trailer. And once again, I cried. I will cry more as I watch that, and so like having that genuine reaction like that, like I will say that Moon Knight doesn't have me necessarily reacting very hard in the sense of like emotions wise. It's I feel like if I had recorded reactions back in the day to something like the final season of Star Wars: The Clone Wars, or like even like WandaVision or Loki or Falcon and Winter Soldier, I'm not like I do enjoy Moon Knight so far, but I don't think my reactions are as severe. My wife can attest to that one.
A big part of it as well is just like, again, it's Moon Knight. Like, we grew up Obi-Wan Kenobi, Loki, huge part. WandaVision got big because it was like the first like episode or two, I don't think really popped off until like episode 3 or 4 or whatever, when like the world started kind of like breaking around them, and it was like, oh, this isn't what it seems like. That was when the thing was like, oh, this show is interesting as fuck, and everyone got on it. You know what I mean? It was like, it was a well done spin-off. And also, Scarlet Witch people like. Moon Knight has not been in anything Marvel. it's a it's a C rated. Like, I could not tell you what Moon Knight's like, gun to my head, if you were like, what is Moon Knight's powers? I'd be like, dude, shoot me in the head. I don't even know what the hell. I thought Moon Knight was DC.
Right.
Like that level of like, and I'll be the first to admit, I'm not a huge Marvel fan. Still have not seen Endgame. Don't really care to. Have not seen the second Thor movie. Don't really care to. It's like superhero movies don't really do it for me. The same way.
The second Thor movie, depending on who you ask, is it's not the best.
Haven't seen Ragnarok then, which
Ragnarok is like
I can hear your boner from here. Dude,
Ragnarok is arguably like just because of the fact that like Taika Waititi, the director, he knows his shit. He's very good at
100%
his job. And I will say that it was because of Taika Waititi that we saw a resurgence of love for that character, because like when we got the second Thor movie, like a lot of people were like, wow, this was kind of ass. And in terms of like ratings and whatnot, the only movie that was rated worse than that one was The Incredible Hulk, which is the only movie in my MCU watch throughs that I completely skip over, because it has just no stake in the overall like Marvel Cinematic Universe. Like at least like with the second Thor movie, it does have like a stake in the overall like narrative of the Infinity Saga, but that's about it for me. Like it's a movie that like I will put on and I will watch because it fits into the overall narrative. Could the execution have been a little bit better? Absolutely. But like for me, like when it comes to something like Endgame, that right there was a very special experience that I was a part of. Like that was a movie when I saw that in theaters, like it was special. There was no other way to say it. Like it was like being in the theater seeing it was just as much part of the experience as it was watching the actual movie itself. There are phenomenal like theater reaction videos out there of like basically they just play the movie and then they had recorded themselves in the theater, and like it gives you chills like listening to these people do this. And like I will say that like it is worth it to watch some of these, and honestly this would be kind of fun. I'm gonna propose this now. And I'm gonna see what you're thinking here.
Before you even do, I'm sorry. I love you to death. No, I'm like because the thing is also is like, even though I know you'd be cool with it, a part of you would be crushed when I'm just like, dude, I don't care.
Mm-hmm.
Like, yeah, it's a good movie. Yeah, it was a cool story. Fucking whatever, because I think there's a huge disconnect between like Marvel fans and everyone else, because like Marvel fans, it's like you get super into the movies, you get super invested in the characters for a good reason. These are well loved, well written characters. Like it is a really excellent franchise. Like just in a vacuum, it's an excellent franchise. The thing is, it's just like it's not my kind of movie,
right?
And there's also like there is just 100% this level of like seriousness to it. It's similar to, honestly, I put on the same level as like Star Wars. It's just like you want to have a conversation with someone, bring up Star Wars, because it doesn't matter how much you like or dislike Star Wars, you have an opinion. Even if that opinion is why you don't give a shit about Star Wars, like you have an opinion.
That is that is a fair point. And
Marvel has reached that same status, which is by itself is a compliment to Marvel, because Star Wars is one of the most iconic,
and
not the most iconic, like universes of all time.
And in the 90s, like Marvel was on the brink of bankruptcy. Like go figure, like 20 plus years later, 30 plus years later, like we're sitting here talking about it because it is a multi-billion-dollar franchise.
Oh yeah, of course.
But I was more like, suggesting like we could even like record videos of us watching it together and like analyzing and critiquing it.
Which is fair. And again, like I think like because I know what would happen. Like I've seen Iron Man 1, Iron Man 2. Good movies. You know, it's just like I was like, I liked Iron Man 1. They're like, well, you know, why'd you like Iron Man 1? Like this, and this. It's like doesn't even have this. It's just like, oh my god, shut up. You know, it is. We need to get a name for that 30-year-old. Your different opinion doesn't make you interesting guy.
Right.
I'm gonna name him Theodore because no one's named Theodore anymore. And if you are, I'm sorry, Theodore. If you're not that 30-year-old guy, I'm sorry because I'm pretty sure you're cool.
We're sticking with Theodore.
Probably. I was gonna say, however, shut up, Theodore. Like, shut up and let me enjoy this movie. And it's just like, and it also just got, it got like so big, and there was just so much pressure to like it. And I was like, so man, like I'm set up to not like it. And I'm like,
I will say that was
people that really love the movies, you know, because I'm just never gonna like it as much as others.
Yes and no. I mean, like I was kind of set up in certain franchises as well for that, and ended up taking away a liking from certain shows and movies and whatnot. But yeah, I think it would be something like I'd be at least curious to like have you watch it and then just have you talk about it. And like not have me like pitch it in a sense of like, so you like it, right? Yeah. Like I would be just purely interested in seeing like what your just overall thoughts on it would be. And I'd be able to provide at least like a little bit of insight, not necessarily like pushing that like, oh, this is fantastic, because not everything is like a total slam dunk. Like obviously we, you know, us Marvel fans enjoy the interconnectedness, which was, you know, revolutionary in that sense, because like,
of course,
we had never had anything like that in history, like in film history.
No question. No question.
Like that was something that like we take for granted nowadays. Like it used to be something that like that didn't exist like 20 something years ago. Like you didn't get an interconnected universe. Like that's just not something that happens. And so like I'd just be curious, and I'll leave it at that. We can always talk about it a little bit further because
I will make a deal.
Okay.
And this is posterity.
Okay.
If we have some sort of like charity drive or whatever, I will make watching the Marvel movies, like the core Marvel movies, up to Endgame, like all the movies that are like agreed upon, like you should watch this to understand Endgame. Yes. I will watch all of them, including Endgame, and talk about them. And we can make that like an incentive, because I guarantee if 4 people listen to this podcast, 3 of them are going to be mad that I don't watch the Marvel movies.
You'd be
like, how can you say that?
I feel like you'd be surprised, because there is like an understanding.
It's the nerds.
I know, but it's like I can't even call them nerds. Like those are more of like the toxic individuals who don't truly understand what it means to be a true nerd. And in my humble opinion, because like a true nerd understands that like their interests are probably scolded by somebody else, so why scold somebody else's interest?
Oh, absolutely.
Like that's my
it's a mature view of it.
Oh yeah.
2 quick things. One, the fact that we named this One Shared Braincell is so funny, because we haven't even talked about the show yet. This is ADHD the podcast. Holy shit.
Oh my goodness. You're not even remotely joking. Like that is right on freaking point.
And going back to, you were talking about the theater reaction to Endgame,
Mhm.
and it just made me think of, spoiler alert for Game of Thrones, if you're not on the internet.
Yes.
And at this point, I don't even feel bad.
I don't even feel bad either.
Arya kills the Night King, and there's like that compilation video of like people all over the world in bars just like losing their shit, like the Super Bowl, like their team just won the Super Bowl.
Oh,
like,
fantastic. What a time to be alive. That was
also, Arya's been my queen since season 6. Not even. Arya's been my queen since like season 2. Who am I kidding? I fucking love her. I love the actress whose name escapes me, and I'm so embarrassed.
Maisie Williams.
Maisie Williams. She's so awesome in so many ways.
Absolutely love her.
My God. And the fact that they showed her butt just made me upset. Like, honestly, it was like, we've seen her from a small child. Don't just show Arya butt. Like, stop.
You want to know what's even crazier?
What?
She's 25 years old. I think I broke him. She's 25 years old.
What?
Yep.
Oh my God.
Like, she is older than both of my siblings.
Holy crap. You know what's wild about Game of Thrones, though?
Mm-hmm.
Indira Varma. Do you know that actress? She played Alaria Sand in Game of Thrones.
Okay.
That fucking like step on me mommy queen.
Oh, yes. Yes.
How I said step on me mommy, you were like, oh yeah.
No, because I finally managed to look her up.
Okay. The timing though, man, fantastic. You know what Indira Varma was also in?
What?
Legends of Vox Machina.
I like that
Lady
segue.
Lady Allura Visorin.
She played Allura?
Hell yeah, dude.
No shit.
Do you want to know who played Lady Kima?
Well, that is Stephanie Beatrice. That one I knew
sir.
because I am a very big fan of Brooklyn Nine-Nine.
Very good show.
Absolutely
Very
loved
good show.
her in that. Easily like one of my favorite characters in that show, which is hard because all of them are favorite characters.
Oh my God, honestly,
I love the fact that like in Vox Machina we just had like so many like famous people who just decided to do it because they were just like, this sounds like fun. If we were to look up the actual show,
I have the list right here. I'm gonna blow your fucking mind real quick. I know you know who General Krieg was.
So that one blew my mind. Like initially when I figured out that was who it was, because I reacted to it live and I was just like, no shit. And I should have realized very quickly on that like if they got somebody as big as
David Tennant
frickin' Tennant to play.
I love
just
how
like,
you were like quickly Googling. You're like, shit, what's his name?
Yeah, no, I was blanking because like I started thinking about all of the main characters.
I'm teasing. But yeah, General Krieg. So Archibald, Percy's childhood friend. Do you know who played Archibald Desney?
Oh shit, that was what's his face from Lord of the Rings.
Dominic Moynihan, sir.
Yes, Mary.
Fuck me,
fucking Mary.
That was so sweet. Do you know who played Duke Vedmeyer, the blue dude that Scanlan fucking lightning dicked?
Oh shit.
Sandor Clegane.
Yes. Oh
Rory
yes.
McCann.
Yes.
Dude, I fucking like when he spoke, because like I knew he was playing Duke Vedmeyer before the show.
Mm-hmm.
I was watching like the making of Legends of Vox Machina on YouTube, like when they came out.
So my plan is that's actually something on my docket to react to and post on YouTube.
Dude, but he was so perfect. Carrie Payton, who's played on Critical Role, he was in Campaign 2. I'm literally not going to say anything about his character because it's that good that you should just go in blind. Yeah. But Carrie Payton did such a good job with that character. It was so fantastic. And he was incredible as fucking Sovereign Uriel.
Oh,
Carrie
absolutely.
Payton's from The Walking Dead. I don't know if you've watched Walking Dead at all. I don't know the character's name in Walking Dead. I haven't seen enough. Do you know the rapper Logic? Bobby Tarantino?
I mean, like, not well, but...
You probably heard some of his songs.
Okay.
He's in the show.
Right. One of my personal favorites that was a voice actress in the show was somebody who was also a voice actress in a number of other projects that I am so happy that she just exists. Is Grey Griffin, who's also known as Grey Delisle. She did the voice of Lady Briarwood.
Yeah,
Delilah Briarwood, because
yeah.
she also did the voice for a number of other favorites of mine from growing up, specifically Avatar: The Last Airbender. She played Azula. Once again,
no shit.
Yep, same voice actress playing Lady Delilah Briarwood and Azula. And then for my Star Wars: The Clone Wars fan, she also did the voice for Asajj Ventress.
No way.
Yep. Oh yeah.
Dude, that's amazing.
She's got a long list of characters that she has played, and like right now I'm currently going through and reacting to the show Invincible. She also voices characters in Invincible.
Fantastic.
And she is she also did some voices in Archer.
Really?
Yeah. So there's like a point in time where like there's the episode where they go to that like ski resort, and like there's like the underage woman who's like
no, that's her.
So not the underage woman, but like there's the two twins. Like one of them gets their like face like burned to a crisp by Archer. The woman who is just like, your twin is now my lover. Your twin is now my lover. Like that woman is also voiced by her. Like,
oh, that was such a good episode.
Phenomenal episode. She also she also, for a variety of times, from what I'm seeing here, has credit in a couple of Batman things here.
Interesting.
Specifically, she plays Selena Kyle Catwoman in Batman Arkham City. And so if you've played the
I
Arkham
played Asylum, I don't think I played City.
Highly recommend it.
Oh no, it's definitely on like my list to play. So, all right, we could talk about this cast for hours, and we probably will, because I imagine this is,
we'll get distracted again because we share a brain cell.
Who is your favorite character in the show?
Oh shit. So,
or, who's vying for the top?
Oh shit. So when the show first started, I would probably say that it was like a Scanlan, Grog, and Vax, maybe?
Okay.
Especially because of the fact that like they were probably the most recognizable voices from the limited amount of time I had spent with them in the campaign thus far, and like the actual like recordings of the campaign.
Right.
And so like I could immediately say like, oh, I recognize them. I could actually tell you who they are voiced by and everything.
Right.
Whereas the other characters I was not as familiar with. Like I had listened to them like via like podcast form, and so I had no faces to names type of deal going on.
Right.
And so like I went with some of the more recognizable characters. And like, Sam Riegel, Liam O'Brien, and Travis Willingham all just have very iconic voices.
Oh, absolutely.
And so like they were definitely vying for some of the top spots. By the end of the show, however, that had completely changed around.
Really?
To a combination of Keyleth, Percy, and Pike.
Really?
Yes.
That is an interesting trio. I don't disagree. I mean, it's my like top favorite is like a blip above the rest. or like my
Okay.
top favorites, because I don't think I could choose just one either. Because there's also
Same.
like, because
Oh.
you start bringing like the dynamics in, it's just like
Absolutely. Because like that's
I love all of the characters equally.
Yep.
You
And
know?
I will tell you right now that my wife's favorite is very much Percy.
Of course it is.
She said, and I quote, "They had no right making an animated character that hot."
I mean, girl, get on the internet. You haven't seen anything yet, but that's not necessarily true. Percy is one of the hottest motherfuckers in the internet right now. Anyway.
Yeah. Well, I mean, like Taliesin Jaffe
He's also
just
got the love Taliesin Jaffe. His immortal soul be praised.
Yes. He did a very good job. Like from what I saw in the campaign, it took him a little while to kind of come into his own, and Matt Mercer just did a phenomenal job, just like getting him more invested in what was going on, because he seemed to just be a little bit unsure of himself. Like I will say that like when I was listening to the campaign, I very rarely knew if like when he was speaking. I didn't even know his name, and I just knew that he was the gunslinger, and the only reason I knew when he was speaking was when he was specifically doing something gunslinger related.
Yeah,
that was the only time that I actually knew that he was even like talking. And then like this show really gave me an appreciation for him. And how well written the backstory was for this character, and how like him and Matt Mercer just like went above and beyond with the character development for this guy. Like phenomenal.
So a little backstory, which I think will also help you appreciate Percy in the podcast more. The first episode they ever did, Percy was actually playing if I remember correctly, it was a Dragonborn paladin. I'm not 100% on the class, but I remember he was a Dragonborn as well, same as Tiberius.
Okay.
And that character was killed off.
Oh, shit.
So he made Percy. The reason he seems unsure of himself is twofold. One, Percy specifically was like always like, for a while, not always, but for a while, was very distant from the group. Like you can see the group kind of like trying to bring him in, being like, no, like we are family. Like they did, like I think maybe watching it kind of portrays that better. Taliesin, while playing Percy at the table, he is always invested. He's very much there. But he plays Percy so well because Percy is not being forthwith. You know, he's not open about stuff. The dude has a crazy revenge boner and thinks about basically nothing else. And the group is less like, especially at the point of the Briarwood arc, the group, he's not super close with the group. Like, yeah, they're friends, but he still is like, he's not getting too close.
They do kind of mention that in like the very first episode. Like Keyless is going through like the roll call, and she's like, Percy barely wants to be seen with us in public.
Exactly.
That right there, like they're already seeing like he's somebody who's just kind of there because he's got nowhere else to go type of deal.
Exactly. I find it interesting because Taliesin actually talks about how he thinks Percy's a fucking dick. Which he is. Percy's an absolute insufferable prick.
I mean, like that the whole revenge arc, like the
thing with like the black eyes, like holy shit.
Yeah.
The mask.
Every time it came out,
you don't get the like in the podcast, you don't get the mask as much, and they really did such a good job with it in the show.
Well, half the time it's just hiding the fact that dude is not fully in control when he's got the mask on.
The degradation. Along with the furthering of the contract. So like each of the guns, each of the names was like a furthering of the contract.
Right.
It's not actually a warlock thing, which I think is a super interesting spin that I had never actually considered. You talked about it in a lot of your reactions.
Very much.
Super interesting spin.
Yeah, very much. A lot of my videos, like I thought, oh, this is totally a warlock pact that happened, and he's just fulfilling that pact as he's going without his knowledge. And like there were a lot of comments of people correcting me on that sense,
which I kind of wish they hadn't. Like I get it. it was very hard for me not to.
Mm-hmm.
I want to let you finish the show, but yeah, Percy is a fighter until the end of campaign 1. Like straight through the end.
Right.
Not going to say levels because again, even that I feel like is a small spoiler. Like it's
right. I know that a lot of these characters, like that was something that was very much spoiled to me very quickly, was the fact that many of them end up multiclassing, and I'm starting to see that coming about. Like, I can see the early stages of Vax becoming a little bit more of a holy individual after his gripe with Silas Briarwood during the actual campaign. And so, if I remember correctly, he multi-classes into a paladin and rogue, which, if that's the case, like that's really freaking cool, and it makes sense.
Since it's already been spoiled for you, yes, he does. I'm not going to give you the details of it because
that's totally fine. Because like I already see the early indicators. I love Liam O'Brien, by the way.
The voice actor for Vax. Oh my god, such a talented guy.
I mean, like I mentioned
such a good job with Vax.
I mentioned that very early on that like his voice is just like a little too sexy, just like a little in there.
Oh man, it's just like the right amount of like danger, smoky. It's like, ew.
Are you offering to help? Like, just like, all right, dude, you don't have to sound so you don't have to sound so like, sexual with a guy who's about to get his arm chopped off. Like,
I love how I said like in the beginning that we were so painfully straight, and here we are just fucking like gushing over Liam O'Brien's just like silk godlike voice. Like,
I mean,
he was a character in World of Warcraft I played for a very short amount of time, but he like I immediately recognized his voice for this one part, and I'm sure somebody can tell me what the voice is. But it was just this like ancient, powerful voice. I was like, "Oh my god!" Like not the same like gush of Vax, but just like I felt cowed almost. Like hearing his voice, I was like, "Oh fuck!" Oh, he's so talented. They're all so goddamn talented.
They very much are.
So I find it interesting that you think that Yusei Keyleth is one of your favorites at the end.
She was somebody who had made like very little impression on me in the actual campaign itself. And obviously I hadn't gotten to a lot of the good stuff in the actual campaign. Like I said, I'm still on the Sun Tree episode in the actual campaign itself, which obviously I know what's going to happen, but I know that like from what I've been told that like it is something that needs to be watched, because by the end of it, there are a number of reactions that I need to watch, because they're from what I've been told, they're very similar to the reaction that I had when I first saw, once again, spoilers,
dude,
everybody hanging from the Sun Tree in their likeness.
Oh my god.
And like the impact, like I had a comment on the YouTube video recently of, we knew it was coming, like everybody else knew it was coming, like I had no idea it was coming, and so like when I first saw it I was like, oh, like the little kid was hung, and then I saw it and I'm like, you can see the moment where my face realizes like, oh shit. And then it just cuts to the credits. There's no music. It is just the swaying of a taut rope. Just, and I'm like, I just even saying that right now, I just got to chill like a little bit. Like it's such a powerful moment of storytelling to have like the villains basically say, we know you're coming and we don't give a shit. We just murdered a bunch of innocent people just to show that we don't care. And everybody else is like,
this is your warning, like you will be next, kind of
like
thing.
Basically like you're gonna take the place of these guys who look like you. And I'm like, holy fucking shit. Like,
my god. Like, so the scene where like they're like, the girl's like, excuse me, miss, did we win a prize? And she's like, yes, little one. I was like, oh, you fucking bitch, don't you dare. Oh my god. What was the actress's name? We were just talking about her.
Great Delisle, or Great Griffin, depending on
Oh my god, she was so good.
I mean,
Oh, I hated her so much.
I mean, I know the
Oh.
voice actress for Azula is very she's very good at playing a character who is very much mentally broken but inherently evil.
Oh my god,
Somebody
yeah.
who
No, she was
you
fantastic.
somebody who you simultaneously love, you hate, you feel bad for, but you want anyone and everyone to murder their ass, but also you somehow want them to make it through. Like, it takes talent to make you feel all those feelings at once. Like, she is the definition of playing a villain perfectly that is also sympathetic.
Oh,
Like,
absolutely.
she
That's the
knows.
thing. That's the thing. Like, so many of the villains are deep villains, like Delilah and Silas. Like, Delilah really loved Silas and just wanted him to live. That's it. And like, god damn. That's the most horrible way of going about it, of course. However, still, it's goddamn, like, why are you making me care about this character who I hate? Let me just hate her. No, I can't. Ugh. But the thing that broke me about the century, one, seeing it happen, I think I was sitting at my desk at work at lunch, and I was just sitting there in stunned silence afterwards, because I don't know if you noticed, the person that was imitating Keyleth, they nailed the fucking antlers into her head. Oh my god.
I was provided with that little bit of insight very quickly in my comment section.
Did I comment that? I might have.
It's possible.
I might have been like, dude, I didn't see it my first time through, and then like I saw like a comment about it, like, all the nails, and I was like, what the fuck are they talking about? And I look back, I was like, oh god, and it's so brutal and it's so fucking good.
It's still one of my top videos to date. Obviously, like, the biggest video that I have is my very first reaction to episode 1 of Vox Machina.
Oh yeah, of course. Episode 1 is a masterclass in, hey, are you interested in Critical Role? Yes, no, doesn't matter. Now you are.
Yep.
Like, there's enough small things, like the book in Gilmore's Glorious Goods.
Oh yeah, the Tusk Love. I've been told that is a reference to something that I don't know yet.
Critical Role Campaign 2.
Campaign 2, okay.
So funny. Such just like a one-off thing, but it's just like the perfect sprinkle, you know. What is the name of the guy that did Sean Gilmore?
Oh.
Sunil Malhotra. I don't know him from anything else. I don't care. He was incredible. Gilmore is one of the best NPCs in all of Critical Role. Everyone knows it. And Sunil fucking killed it.
I was told very early on that this was somebody who they wanted to make sure, like Matt Mercer said, they wanted to make sure the representation was there. He refused to do the voice for him in the actual show itself. Like I said, he wanted to make sure that he was voiced by somebody who provided the representation that he wanted to make sure.
Yeah, he did. And Sunil, again, knocked it out of the goddamn park. Going back to what we were talking about before that with Keyleth.
Yes.
So you mentioned that Keyleth was like not, didn't make much of an impression on you in the podcast. That is a universal thing from a lot of fans. Marisha Ray, the voice actress, got I don't exactly know why, especially because I fucking love Keyleth to the point where I actually have, small spoiler, have you ever heard of a man named Patrick Rothfuss?
I don't think I have.
Have you ever heard of the book The Name of the Wind?
No, I have not.
Bitch, I'm gonna slap the fuck out of you.
I'm sorry.
I'm going to buy you The Name of the Wind and make you read it. It is one of the greatest books of all time.
Okay, noted.
He was a guest star on the show.
Okay.
He is a goddamn wordsmith. I was like, see if I can find my copy real quick.
Yeah, by all means.
And if I can't, I'm going to give up.
Yeah, meanwhile, I'm still looking up different credits for voice acting. Guy who did the Gilmore? Voice acting for Gilmore, He also was a voice actor for Star Wars: The Clone Wars. Once again, it seems like there's a recurring theme here. AKA, everybody go watch Star Wars: The Clone Wars so I can nerd out with you about it. I also found out what else Sunil Malhotra plays in Legend of Korra. And so he plays Prince Wu.
I don't know enough about Legend of Korra to really remember who the hell that was, honestly.
So did you watch the entire show?
I don't think so.
So there were 4 seasons of Legend of Korra. So he was in the final season as like the heir to the Earth Kingdom throne.
Oh, okay. I know who you're talking about.
Yep, kind of like a very, very thin, scraggly guy who's just like, woo down, woo down. Yeah, same voice as Gilmore.
So I'm going to read you the quote from the back of the book.
Okay.
I have stolen princesses back from sleeping Borrow Kings. I burned down the town of Trebon. I spent the night with Felurian and left with both my sanity and my life. I was expelled from the university at a younger age than most people are allowed in. I tread paths by moonlight that others fear to speak of during day. I have talked to gods, loved women, and written songs that make the minstrels weep. You may have heard of me.
Well, shit. Okay. You may have heard of me.
There's 2 books out so far. They are incredible. Anyway, he was a guest. He did a guest appearance and had like a small connection with Keyleth, and it was really sweet. And he wrote a letter to her, and it is one of the most emotional parts of the show. In like the first half of the show, second half of the show, God, it gets so emotional. The second half of the campaign, but he literally made a ring. And the ring says, I have passed through fire.
Well,
I have that tattooed on my ribs.
Oh, shit.
I love Keyleth and Patrick Rothfuss so fucking much. Yeah, Keyleth. Love her.
Yes.
Fucking love Keyleth. Marisha Ray got way too much shit, and she deserved absolutely none of it.
I do remember that being a thing. Like, there were comments basically saying, like, don't read the chat during this live stream because people are being assholes to her.
Yeah. Oh my God. They were like, Keyleth is useless. Blah, blah, blah. So it's like, part of it is that was Keyleth's character.
Well, she was role playing her character perfectly. I never had any issue with her character. And it was only after I had read some of the comments, which once again, a mistake of the internet is reading the comments of anywhere online. I read the comments and there's just like, be careful not to read this point, because like there are multiple times where people are saying like, oh, who let her talk? And I'm like, that is terrible. Like,
People suck. I think part of it is also Marisha Ray is Matt Mercer's wife. And let's be real. It's Matt Mercer. He's so goddamn funny. He's so genuinely nice. It's just like, I want to meet him, but not as like a fan being like, oh my God, you're Matt Mercer. I just want to be like, hey, how's it going? Matt Mercer. Just, I'm Robbie. It's nice to meet you. Let's go grab a drink and chat. Like, I just want to like chill with him. I just want to play like fucking Magic the Gathering with him.
He is somebody who I would not have any qualms about sitting with him at a bar, having drinks and swapping stories. Like,
oh my God, he's an incredible storyteller.
Well, even just like having like a casual conversation with him, I know it would be like one of the highlights of my life. Like,
oh my God, yeah.
Same. Just like he resonates that positive energy that so many of us so desperately need in our lives. And like there was this phenomenal video that I saw of him seeing a video from a fan basically saying that like, hey, if it was not for Critical Role, I would not be here today. Literally like a fan saying that like, you saved my life. He would not even take credit for it. He would just say like, I'm humbled, like this game has brought us all together, and like this isn't me, this is all because of you guys, the community, the support. All of this is not on me. And I'm like, dude, take a little bit of credit, it's okay. Like,
his story is very complicated. There's actually a video I'll send you where Brian W. Foster, who was the host of
Vox Machina, which was
Mhm.
like the chat show where they'd like break down episodes. He is the fiance, I don't believe they're married yet, to Ashley Johnson, the voice actress of Pike.
Yep.
And overall, phenomenal, hilarious, talented dude in his own right. And he did kind of like a having a drink and chatting with people from Critical Role. So he did one with literally everyone: Travis Willingham, Lillian O'Brien, Taliesin Jaffe, Marisha Ray, Laura Bailey, Sam Riegel,
Yep.
Ashley Johnson, Matt Mercer. And it's just like, and they're all fantastic. Like he's, especially because they were all friends, there's just like a definite rapport there. But
Mhm.
he just very well done. And Matt Mercer actually talks about having like a bit of an imposter syndrome. And it like blew my fucking mind. I was like,
Of all people
like,
to have
I was gonna say, I was
like
like,
imposter
you're
syndrome.
one of the most incredible voice actors of all time. You're so goddamn talented. And I'm like, I kind of get it. Imagine that pressure though.
I mean, I don't think I
would
could imagine
blow
that
up.
pressure.
I would
Like,
blow up.
so much of me would love to make career out of voice acting. Like, I've done so many different like voices over my lifetime, as you are very well aware. And
Oh yeah.
I've even had like students tell me like, why are you a teacher? Like, why didn't you go into this? And I'm like, part of it was just because I never thought I had it in me. And so like, I just didn't do it. Like I didn't have that belief in myself. And like, so many people have told me like, why don't you give it a shot? I'm like, I don't know, maybe, I guess, whatever. No matter how big or small you are as an online personality, it is tough to deal with that imposter syndrome. Like I've dealt with that on a very regular basis before. Like, do I deserve what it is that I am achieving here, as small or as big as it might be? Like, do I deserve it?
I think a lot of people to a degree have that feeling. Like I hesitate to make a comparison to like anxiety, because I think that's something that really gets misconstrued. Like people have anxiety. Some people feel anxiety. Some people have anxiety. I think everyone feels anxiety to a degree.
Yes.
And I think imposter syndrome is like that. Some people feel the imposter syndrome. Like for me, like I work in the medical field, and I do a lot of testing and whatever. I have worked my ass off to get where I am, and I still some days I'm like, why? Who the hell was dumb enough to put me here? It's like I've earned this.
Right.
I know I have. I know my shit. Like I have to at this point.
Yeah.
And I still am like, well, why? Like they're gonna find out. And it's like, oh god, I can't imagine. I feel imposter syndrome. I don't have an imposter syndrome. And also mine is not super in the spotlight, so I can't even imagine on like a creator front what it must feel like.
It's something else. I will say, like, it can go back and forth. That is for sure. Like, there are some days where I'm just like, wow, I'm shocked that I'm not doing better than this. Because I then realize like, oh, I know what I can provide in terms of content creation. And then I have the complete opposite days where I'm just like, why bother doing this? Because I am not somebody who can make anything out of this. Why even bother? And then I have the in-between days where I'm just like, let's just take it one step at a time here, guys. Like, like, we don't have to go that hard here. It's okay.
Yeah, absolutely. I do think we should wrap this up pretty shortly. I do want to ask. Oh, my favorite characters. I never even talked about mine. If I was going to give a top 3 favorite characters.
Okay.
Grog, I fucking love him.
He's very hard to not love.
Is Captain Winky okay?
Is Captain Winky okay?
I can't do a Grog voice for the fucking life of me.
I'm not sure.
That part,
is
like,
Captain Winky okay? Like
that was actually really good.
That's a voice I can do, because it was that voice that I based like my barbarian voice off of. For
so funny.
For Grokog, the barbarian, the human barbarian who like destroyed things with his hammer.
Travis Willingham does an incredible job of making Grog sound so tough and so childlike. But anyway, Grog, love him, especially with that goddamn sword.
Oh,
I'm going to say one thing. It's going to blow your fucking mind, and I'm sorry. I have to make this small spoiler. I'm so mad about 2 things in the show. There's only 2 things I have to complain about in the show. One, where the fuck is Grog's beard? Why did he not start growing a beard? Like, if they start doing next season, fine. I get it. But I'm pretty sure at this point he's already starting to grow a beard.
I would say the biggest reason why they didn't do that, because that was something that, like, it was very entertaining in the campaign, but they didn't even remotely touch on it in the show, was the fact that the item that he acquired was acquired in a part of the game that was not shown in the show.
Oh, that's right. He got that in the Underdark when they were rescuing Kima.
Yep. They fought the Beholder.
Yeah, that was such a cool fight scene.
Yep. And the Beholder with all of the Illithids surrounding, and like all the Duragar and all that fun crap.
That fucker. Oh my god, that Illithid fucker. I can't remember his name.
Oh yes, he was an ally and then he wasn't. As soon as he
just fucking turned on him. But yeah, I don't care. I want his goddamn beard. And 2, I'm so mad they didn't tease the sword talking to him.
The sword talking to him, like, I feel like there was definitely a little bit of a tease, like him reflecting in himself, like, ooh. Like, there's obviously something like that. That sword definitely seems to be at least somewhat sentient.
I mean, that sword is definitely magical.
Yeah. But sentient is...
Here's the thing. When he gets the sword in game, you will 1000% understand. All in all, 10 out of 10. It is a show of its own. It does a really excellent homage and like representation of the podcast, but still is a solid show.
Right.
Standalone show. Fucking fantastic job. You don't need to watch the podcast to like the show. However, if you watch the podcast, there's little nods. Mm-hmm. You kind of know what's going on, but you're still surprised by things. Like, it is mind-blowing to me how well balanced they did the animated show.
That was part of my 60-second review that I did, actually, where I did like just a brief review of the actual show itself, and I had mentioned that exact thing.
Yeah, no, it's phenomenal. So yeah, Grog, one of my favorite characters. Keyleth, again, love Marisha Ray, loved Keyleth. Throughout the entire campaign, has one of the best stories and growth. And if I was going to give a third, honestly, you know what? It was always kind of a tie between Scanlan and Pike for me, because I love them both. Like, I love Percy. Percy's an asshole. I love Vex and Vax. They're also kind of pricks.
That's what I love about them. Yes.
Yeah, that's what I love about them. By the way, I am making this request / demand as one of your best friends of 10 years.
Okay.
When you get to the final 2 episodes, campaign 1, we are going to live stream both of us watching them back to fucking back.
Okay. Shit.
You and I are we're gonna meet up in person, fucking get some popcorn, get some food. Maybe our wives will be there. Probably not, because neither of them are really gonna want to watch with us. But we're gonna watch that shit and either record it, because it would be hilarious to do like a full fucking reaction, especially your reactions. Oh God, I can't wait. Also because I want to be there in person. Like, I need that shit raw.
You know what? Fair. You always liked it raw.
You know me. But I will say, actually, from the show itself, I think Pike is in my top 3. They did such a good job with her story. And it's also unfair because in the campaign itself, Ashley Johnson was working on Blind Spot in New York.
Yeah.
So she was constantly back and forth from California, would call in or Skype in whenever possible. It was still like
not perfect.
Like, that was something that like she was so bummed about that. So and they did such a good job in the show.
Well, it was so fantastic how they wrote it in, like, just like, oh, this was totally something that was meant to be.
Exactly.
Right.
I mean, that was kind of how she was manifested in the show. Was like sometimes she would just like show up in like the spectral body kind of thing.
Oh
And
yeah,
it really did work like fairly seamlessly.
absolutely.
You never like expected Pike to be there necessarily, but when she was there, it was awesome. So I'm very pleased. I'm already fucking foaming at the mouth for campaign 2, but we can go into more details about, you know, really breaking down episode by episode and nerding out more and getting way off topic next episode.
Yes, I agree. This was a shit ton of fun. I really did enjoy like being able to just for those of us who are just jumping into this is very much something that we do regularly, and we just decided this time around, hey, what happens if we record our stupid discussions on nerdy ass shit and just post it online? And that's exactly basically what we have here.
What happens when you take two fairly intelligent guys that just together are the stupidest motherfuckers? Hopefully some entertainment.
There was a TikTok of this somewhere where it was just like, individually they are very smart individuals capable of achieving some really crazy shit, but when you put them together, they are just the dumbest individuals on the planet. And like the entire time that they were doing this TikTok, it was just a compilation of Aang and Sokka.
It is a little too accurate for our relationship to really pass up.
Oh, without a doubt.
So if you enjoy our inane ramblings, catch us next episode where we will hopefully discuss more of Vox Machina.
Yes,
and
episode
the adventures
by
of
episode.
Vox Machina. Maybe not fully. Well, yeah, hopefully episode by episode. I usually make a guest appearance on at least 1 or 2 streams a week.
Yep.
Over on the G Teachers. Are you the G Teacher or the gaming teacher on Twitch?
The G Teacher. I'm the gaming teacher over on YouTube.
But yeah, I will guest appear and just kind of like invade his streams usually.
Mostly when I'm playing Destiny.
I mean, almost exclusively.
Almost exclusively, yes.
Because God, we're blueberries. Blueberries we are. Violet Beauregard, watch the fuck out.
We're great at what we do, and what that is, I couldn't even tell you.
For me, it's pretending I know what I talk about and then immediately getting fucked up because of it. But yeah, thank you very much for listening. Stay safe out there.
Yes.
There are way too many dragons that are pretending to be David Tennant.
Thank you for sharing this brain cell. We'll see you next time.